Oh, hey friends, it's me, Daniel. So funny story. We're going great guns, but then about an hour in, my audio just stopped. So we're going to leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger for this one. But don't you fear. Another 4 to 8 weeks, we'll be back recording again, no doubt. So sit back, relax, and prepare yourself for disappointment. It seems to go on forever. Hi, it's me, Dan.
And his brother Jake. That sounded like I had a French accent when I
said and his brother.
And his brother Jake.
Now the people will know we podcast.
Those were the French. Anyway.
I'm sure that took part in genocide.
Yeah, that's a big thing now. Like, they want to cancel Canada Day because of the genocide of the Aboriginal people. But to me, every country has its warts. And also, all my friends on Facebook are trying to make everyone wear these pins for Canada Day that say "You're on native land," and because that's part of the theme song for the country, if you will. I'd call it a national anthem, but I'm not even sure we have a nation anymore. But our theme song, our home and native land. Anyway, you're on native land and all that stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I was born here. Are you telling me to go back where I came from? Is that what?
Go to Yugoslavia, you asshole.
Why don't you go back where you came from? Fucking Scot boy.
Scotland.
Yeah. I would happily go back to Scotland if they won't have me. What, are you fucking crazy? Right. They don't want me.
Oh, man. It is... oh, my gosh. What just happened? It's been an eventful... I think so. We are 2 weeks overtime. Normally we do it at the beginning of the month. But things just got away from us this time, didn't it?
It's been it's been a tough month, I think, just because I've been on call a lot and you've been working the weekends, and it's just one of those things. I mean, we have... The last time we talked was in May, early May, and I remember because you couldn't say May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th.
Luke Skywalker. But right after we talked, did I tell you I had a thing? Remember you had the melanoma on your thumb, or the suspected melanoma?
Yeah.
So I had I still have it, but I got this like new weird black mole on my finger. And part of my job is x-ray related, and I spend a lot of time with my hand sort of close to the x-ray beam, and it gets in there quite a bit. Like it's not supposed to. Don't tell the WMIS or the WorkSafe people, but my hand gets in the beam quite a bit, and I get pretty worried because I'd had a little wart there, and it had been burned off, and this happened in the scar, and you can get something called in-scar carcinoma, right? And I thought, well, maybe it's a melanoma in a thermal ablation scar or whatever.
Knowledge has not done you a good service.
Well, as I was looking at this and thinking, should I make an appointment? I remembered the time where I was convinced I had a melanoma inside my mouth, and you were like, Jake, it's chocolate. I was like, oh, yeah, it is. I had chocolate in my mouth. Freaked out.
My teeth are rotten. I ate one Oreo, and now it's full of black holes.
I should have gotten my eyesight checked before I decided that I had melanoma. Anyway, but this time, I thought, I'll get it checked out because I'm at risk, right? And it's probably nothing, but it is new and it's pretty black. So I made this appointment with the dermatologist, and did I tell you the story already last time? No,
it was all about the melanoma you thought you had on your dick the last time.
Yeah, that hasn't come back, thankfully. But anyway, so for this, I did make the appointment with the dermatologist, and I went in, and I don't know if you've been actually to this dermatologist for your thumb because you were in Canada.
Oh yeah, he's a nice guy, very thorough.
Yes, thorough is the problem, right? So first thing in the morning, he was super nice. He's like, come in, I'll make you the first appointment so you're not late for work, whatever. So I went in and the nurse said, okay, you need to take off all your clothes. And I had this bright orange pair of boxer shorts and
he must think it runs in the family because I was wearing unicorn underwear that I bought at Winners the day before, and I was like, I'll just wear these new ones because I didn't pack enough.
Anyway, fuck, exactly. So I was like, oh, it's just on my finger. She was like, no, you got to be almost completely nude. You're allowed to keep your underwear on.
Yeah, he's gonna want to see your dick. it's like his thing.
He's gonna flip it to the left and then flip to the right. Then he's gonna put it in his mouth for 5 to 10 seconds. Anyway, he didn't do any of that. That's ridiculous.
His finger in my bum.
But 5-10 seconds max. But anyway, he did come in while I was like standing there in my underwear, and I'm fat, obviously, and not attractive.
Don't worry about putting your phone on silent. That would be silly.
Oh yeah, sorry, sorry about that. Anyway, I was standing there nude, and he came in, and he was, he's got the little like fucking, I don't know, magnifying glass that he looks at your skin through.
He's like, and oh my gosh, you do have a penis.
He's looking at me all over, and I said, Rob, I'm sorry that this is the first thing you have to see this morning. And he said, no, you know what? You're doing an excellent job. And I said, if this is an excellent job, I don't want to see what a bad job looks like. And then he kind of realized what I was saying, and he said, I meant at staying out of the sun. And I said, well, yeah, I work in a basement with no windows.
I mean, there is absolutely no chance that underneath these rolls will be a melanoma.
Now, listen, I turned my phone off, and I still heard that ding, because it comes through the computer, too. Sorry.
Well, you get what you pay for.
That's my friend Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. He was in a merge. Oh, Lord.
Oh, well.
Peter's a great guy. Really, really intelligent, very sweet, kind person. But he's convinced that vaccines are killing people and that it's a big conspiracy. I just play along. I don't.
Yeah, you're like, no, they are. You're absolutely right, Peter.
Look, I'm just going along to get along from now on. I'm not. Because you know what? If I say something confidently, there's 80% chance I'll be wrong. So maybe Peter's right. I don't know.
I heard this saying, and it was on, I don't know, some like moto vlogging website or something like that. And the guy was like, and you know what? Oh no, you know what it was? It was on Fortnite, I think.
Yeah.
And he was like, and you know what? Time is a construct and nothing really matters. And I was like, that's my new motto. Running late, time's just a construct. Nothing really matters.
Somebody sent me a meme of a dog running really fast, and it said, in the meme, it said, me at 8:15 trying to leave so I can get to work by 8 o'clock. I was like, fuck, that's me every day. Every single day I'm like that. I'm like, fuck, it's 8:05. I gotta go.
Well,
drive 160, 170.
Speaking of like morning problems, you know how I got that big TV? Because I've had a 40-inch TV for the last 18 years. So
yeah,
it's a Sony, and I was trying to be frugal and waiting for it to die, and it just didn't. And in fact, I went through a TV in my bedroom waiting for that one to die. So I've just bit the bullet and put the old TV in my bedroom and bought a big screen TV, which has...
It is a big TV. It takes up your whole wall. I saw a picture of it. And it's like from one edge of the wall to the other edge of the wall.
Yeah. But it has... because I have that now, and I'm like enjoying watching television again,
yeah,
it has exponentially increased my consumption of popcorn. Now I have this horrible issue of pooping popcorn kernels, which... You would think, oh, it's fiber and it's going to be good for you. No, it's awful. They're jagged and they're hard And
well, and
sometimes
they come out
suction
ferociously because there's so much air in popcorn that you're getting like quite a pressure head when you poop it out.
But they're like a little suction cup, and sometimes
they jam onto the side of your asshole.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was not in the leaflet. They're not like, enjoy fresh popcorn and 3 days
TV is so
of
good
an itchy
that
anus.
you will have that you will have popcorn kernels stuck to the side of your asshole forever.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm ripping toilet paper. I feel like it's
it's
so
like,
jagged down there.
You know, in the old days, farmers used to use cobs like from corn.
Yeah, corn husks. Yeah,
and every time I eat popcorn, I think, why would they ever do this on purpose? Because this is a terrible affliction. I can't eat popcorn because I have wisdom teeth that are like half in, half out in the back. Of course, in the back. I mean, I don't have wisdom teeth in the front. But,
the front.
Like a fucking one of those herbivorous dinosaurs. What's the word? Herbivore. Anyway. Yeah.
Herbivorous is also the word.
Do you pronounce the H or do you not? I went to Newfoundland. This fucked me up forever. So they say they have a place called Holyrood, but they call it Olyrood. But the word inhibit, they call it inhibit. Like they don't pronounce the H's. So when there is an H, they don't say the H. And when there is no H, they make up an H.
Yeah, that might just be a weird phenomenon. Here, I grew up with, like, what would you call things that you would sprinkle? Like, they're a type of plant, like basil or thyme, that you would sprinkle on food. You would say...
Herbs.
Sorry?
Herbs or herbs?
Herbs. Well, here you say herbs, but I copped shit for years because in Canada we called it herbs, like an herb garden.
Yeah. Yeah, I call it herb too.
Yeah, but here, no, it's herb. And but they also do, like, they'll say things like schedule. And like,
oh yeah, no, that's the wrong way to say it. It is schedule. One
the
funny thing about herbs is that there's a bagel here that they sell at Tim Hortons called herb and garlic, but they all call it herb and garlic. And I thought it was called urban garlic, like it was popular with inner city youth. Yo, man, I'll have one of them urban garlic bagels.
Yeah, it comes spray painted with your favorite flavors.
Tag me one of them urban garlic bagels. Just tag my name on it. J-Dog. Is that... Like, am I getting into racial? I just mean, anyway, fuck this. This is... I
think there are plenty of white folks out there that would say...
That are urban.
And would also be tagging things and are stupid enough to call themselves J-Dog.
Oh my God. So and listen,
you don't have to worry.
Listen, J-Dog was my name on the CBC Music Spotlight thing because I didn't want to give my real name. So,
hey, you know what? My son Elijah is just getting into, and it's awful. It's called Camp Rock on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Which, to his age group, it's fine. But what I really got a kick out of was how not dissimilar it was to your Camp Rock that you did when you were 13.
Are they learning how to do bottle tokes of hash? And, well, because it was like full on that movie. Do you remember that crazy movie Kids that you weren't allowed to watch? And in retrospect, it's borderline child porn. But at the time, we were the same age as the people in it, so you didn't really think of it that way. Anyway, it was this movie about...
It was a movie or ultimately a television show?
It was a movie, and it was about AIDS, like, at the beginning. I think it was in the 90s, but it was about all these kids, skate rats, and they were all screwing each other, and one of them had HIV, and all these other people were exposed. Anyway, it was, I think it was like a mix between a coming-of-age story and a skate film.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was really strange. The director was really whacked, but... Anyway, that was like I lived in this dystopian hell that was interspersed with occasional orgasms, and that was my, teen youth. Those
Camp
were my teen
Rock
years.
experience.
Yeah.
Well, the one on Disney is more like Camp Pop, I have to say. But still, I was like, oh, my brother, Elijah was like, I want to go to Camp Rock. And I was like, Uncle Jake went to Camp Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a girl pregnant. He had to pay for her abortion. She was only 13.
No, he has
But
AIDS
he was
now.
11.
He was 11. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That didn't happen, by the way. That was just to clarify. That didn't. Yeah, but I didn't get later. But it was like that stuff was going on.
Your band's name was Del Nilipez.
That was the first year. Yeah, Del Nilipez. It's a secret code. If you can figure it out, write us at One Foot in the Grave podcast at gmail.com or Weebly.com. Yeah. It's 2 words, Del Nilipez. The German cryptographers who invented the Enigma machine would not be able to figure this out.
No, it's pretty intricate.
Yeah.
What was the
I missed
name
my
of your
calling.
What I know that you did well, actually, that going to the concert, which just sounds so lame, but going to the concert at the end of your band camp was it got me into Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, that band was amazing.
Yeah,
and I feel it.
When the dogs begin to smell her.
It's hard to explain because it won't come across in the recording as at the exact same time that we said that, but that was exactly the same time. And I feel it. Yeah, I love that song, and
that's still on my playlist.
There was a really funny comedian who talked about the Way songs of the 90s. Yeah, and that was one of them. And I feel here, and Jeremy spoken way. It's like, it's a 90s alt rock band if they say way in their songs and then draw it out. Yeah. Way.
And you have to kind of talk. Look, Jeremy spoke. It's almost like
it's
Kermit the Frog.
a little bit Kermit the Froggy. It's funny. I was just listening to a lot of Nirvana this week, but it was because I was trying to rewrite the lyrics of famous Nirvana songs to appeal to
the hokey pokey, to polka music,
tradespeople. Like, I'm in a crane, I can't complain. That was how it started, and then Ray and I started going back and forth on all these Nirvana songs. It was really fun. It gave me something to do today, and it was good.
Oh yeah, my brother. He's an academic and maybe an idiot savant. What does he do? He rewrites Nirvana songs for tradespeople. So
with the lines off, it's less dangerous. CSA boots will save your anus.
Don't eat popcorn. It will hurt you when you sit down to do a poo. Yeah.
Number 2, yeah. But just going back briefly to the Summer Rock experience, which was...
Summer Rock, that's what it was called.
I mean, it was amazing. And this shit will never happen now because kids are children until they're like 38 years old now. But at 12 years old, Mom and Dad sent me with our buddy Rob to Summer Rock in Halifax for 2 weeks to live with musicians, some of whom had like mustaches and sideburns and everything, and they
full pubic hair.
Yeah, pubic hair, and they were serious musicians. These guys were they were really good. A lot of them were really good, but along with being serious musicians, they all smoked a lot of drugs and it was pretty intense for a 12-year-old. So one thing that I've never had is a good sense of direction. And the first day we went to camp, I had to carry my amp back and forth every day. It was fucking heavy, and a guitar. And so we carried it down because we were with the whole crowd going in, but they divided you off by skill set. And Rob and I were in one group, and there was another group that got out after us. So when we left, only the resident counselor, like the guy who was living with us, responsible adult who was living with us in the residence. We stayed in residence at Dalhousie University. He was the only one who was leaving at the same time. And his name was Jeff. And I was like, oh, fuck, how the hell do we get back to the residence? It was like a 20-minute walk. Rob's like, I don't know. Let's just follow Jeff, because he was like a block away from us. I'm carrying this fucking amp. I'm carrying this guitar. And we start walking. And we're walking and walking. I was like, it's like a 40-minute walk, because Jeff had probably lost his license. Anyway, he goes into this apartment building. And there's like this, he buys some handshake drugs from this guy in the entryway of the apartment building. And then he looks behind him and sees these little kids had followed him, right? He's like, fuck, are you guys following me? I was like, yeah, man, we don't know how to get back to the residence. It's like, holy shit, dude, it's not here. You guys can't be here. So he kind of gave us like oral instructions on how to get back. We didn't get back until like 11:30 at night. So we're walking through town with an amp. The amp weighed as much as me. At the time, it was like 120 pounds, carrying this fucking huge amplifier and a guitar. Anyway, that was the kind of experience that summer rock camp was. It was pretty wicked.
So you didn't get into a spaghetti fight with the rival teen who wanted to steal the show?
No, they played a game of hot and cold where the guys who had been there a few years, when we went out at night to go get our food, they like reached in and they were like, you got to remember to lock your doors. Of course, the doors lock automatically unless you flick the thing to unlock it. So they unlocked our door. And then while we were getting food, they stole all our furniture and put it in a different building. And then they played hot and cold, where we had to walk around to find our furniture. I never found it. I never got it back. It wasn't like they were going to relent. I was like, dude, I seriously don't know where you put it. And he's like, well, you'll just have to find it, man. So that whole night, the first night, I slept on the fucking floor. They never gave me my furniture back. And I remember I was like, it was my first time away from home. And I was like trying not to cry in front of these like cool musician guys. But I was like, I don't have my bed. And I don't have a chair. And
I guess I'm homeless now.
I've been away from home for one day and I'm homeless.
And so I guess I'm going down asking people if they want blowjobs for 25 cents.
Well, I think I slept in the TV room.
No, I didn't do that until the next day.
Yeah. Listen, man, if I give you a blowjob, will you give some crack to my friend here who will tell me where my furniture is?
I'm reading.
Anyway, we went through
it
this whole thing
at the moment.
You've been reading it for a while.
Well, yeah, I guess so, but it was 38 hours long. So
reading
I'm on the last 4 hours.
I can't consume books anymore by reading them. Like you, I have to listen to them in the car, or I can't get through them. I don't know why. When I sit on the toilet, I just expect to watch YouTube on my phone.
Like, I don't have the attention span to do that anymore.
I don't know what's happening. I think phones are fucking killing our brains, but
probably.
I'm not going to give mine up.
No, what a way to go. Cause of death? TikTok.
TikTok. I'm afraid it was another TikTok overdose. He died of fucking stupid.
He forgot how to breathe.
Yeah.
He withered away except for his right index finger from swiping.
He had a big smile on his face and a stream of Harlem Shake videos playing. My God. Oh, I met, did I tell you I met a fan of the show who we've never met in person before. And
how did they know? How did they,
this is funny.
It's not
they heard about this wholesome podcast from our pastor.
Oh, no.
Who is, honestly, Rob is so funny. I had asked him something in the last podcast, and he wrote back, remember about Jesus and the feet? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. That's all good. It's like, you live on the edge.
Well, unlike the snowflakes of current society, I'm pretty sure Jesus knows our intention, and it doesn't matter how it's perceived. So
they're making fun of me, but they would buy me a beer, so
No, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Depends on how much it costs.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? Okay, if you're looking, I know you're not, but if you're ever thinking about a charity to give to, that Rivercross Church does all the community outreach in St. John, like they do the kitchen, like the soup kitchen and all that stuff. And Rob he kind of put out an appeal, under the radar on raising money for the church. He doesn't tell you to give 10% or anything, so he's pretty cool about it. But anyway, he did do a sermon about money, and I was like, ooh, I haven't given much money. I'm a little behind here. Like, can I put it on Visa or should I pay off the Visa first? But no, so Rivercross Church in St. John, very, very good cause. And you can give to them through Canada Helps, but Canada Helps takes like 5%. So my plan was to call them and give them money on the phone, but nobody answered. So I still haven't done it. Sorry, Rob. But eventually I will actually go to church, once this Delta variant burns itself out. And
yeah, that's pretty.
It's a bummer.
To be honest, I hate the whole Delta variant. Can go fuck itself.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, they didn't learn anything. What happened, when they didn't stop bringing flights in from Wuhan and China and Iran and Italy at the beginning, they seeded our country with disease, and now it's it's not rampant anymore, but we're still having a lot of cases. And now this Delta variant is starting to pick up, and like the UK has more cases, double the number of cases that they had last week, all because of this variant that the vaccines aren't as effective for, right? And instead of, you would think, okay, well, we made a fucking huge mistake by letting this disease into the country. We need to do what Australia did and shut her down. Canada's like, Canada is an open arms kind of country. Come here, don't bring paperwork, just come. But meanwhile, they yell at Canadians every day on the news for not following the rules enough. It drives me crazy. It is getting a little better here, but New Brunswick now I see both sides of the argument. But New Brunswick is saying, like, okay, we're open now, like fully open, but they're not testing for this variant. So it is a little stressful that they're going to open up and you can come here. You don't have to isolate. You don't have to get a test or whatever. And people are just, as nobody stays in New Brunswick. Everybody's from New Brunswick. So everybody's like flooding back to see their parents and party with their friends. And it's going to get out of control within a month, and it's going to all end up shut down again.
It's no bueno. So I was just reading through this little list, and I realized that quite a bit actually has happened since we had our last podcast. One of which is this continued rivalry with the neighbors back home at our cottage.
Oh my Lord! So that just escalated again today.
I need to know. Okay, so the backstory is the neighbors at our cottage. Look, it's not amazing land, but there's a right-of-way that goes through our property and their property to a highway.
It's a driveway. It's just a driveway for everybody to who lives on that cul-de-sac, basically.
But 20 or 30 years ago, they put a giant piece of driftwood across it to keep us from going on it, yet they still continued to use it. And Dad would say, no, Jake and Darren, if you stop using the right of way, it becomes their land. So we would drive our motorcycles up and down it every so often just to, keep the rivalry fresh in hindsight. But then they petitioned to build a new cottage. And the rules for everyone else is that you have to build the cottage or a house or whatever on the same footprint that the house is currently on. Otherwise, you can't build it, and you can't build it closer to the river. But these guys ignored that and built a new cottage directly next to our cottage and never tore down their old place, which is now derelict and probably full of rats and mold and all sorts of stuff.
In the body of their mother.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah. They and then they they put stuff onto our land, and they've kind of been pushing the envelope a little bit, but we've tried to be peaceful, and they've put this big generator right in the sightline of our house on the right of way. And Mum had asked them ages ago if they'd be happy if she planted some lilacs there to keep it, pretty, because it's an eyesore. And they said yes. So the other day, Mum went out and bought some lilac bushes. She spent like $150 on them or some shit, and planted them and left to go back home or something. And she came back and they had torn up the lilacs. And when she asked for them back, they were like, no, they're gone.
Yeah, you cut them down with a chainsaw.
Yeah. So that opened a bit of a can of worms. So you can take it from there, because I don't know all the ins and outs of the other bits of the story. So
I decided that was the end. I was like, okay, this guy his name's Pierre. He's a fucking asshole. Anyway, he basically went out, and when Mom asked him, where are my lilac bushes, he was making fists at her, screaming at her, kind of getting in her face, not directly pushing her, I don't think, but she thought he might punch her or push her or whatever, screaming, "This is my land, you do not put nothing on my land, blah, blah, blah." So anyway, she called me she was in tears, she was upset. She called me, and I was in Miramichi trying to relax, unsuccessfully. And I just felt my blood pressure rising as she's telling me the story, because I'm like, I have enough problems. I love Mom, but when she's unhappy, it makes me miserable. So I spend a lot of my time trying to make Mom happy, and then trying to make Chrissy happy. And now you can start making trying to make my family happy. CCR tunes into medical maybe based. So I feel my blood pressure rising. Yeah. Well, that's what happened, because now she's unhappy. Now I got a big headache on my hands. So my instinct was to go and beat him up, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna go over and fucking rumble, because this guy is so, he always claims, I have the legal right, you have no legal right, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, sorry for my French accent. I know we have French friends. Please don't be offended. That's just what he sounds like.
Anyway, it's also what your French friends sound like.
They don't say the same things.
Well, maybe they do.
We don't know. I had some French girlfriends.
They've used every one of those words before.
I don't know. Do you want a hand job? I will take it to the bathroom if you want. No. Anyway. Hello. Hey, passez-moi the French fry there, please. Yeah, all our friends are really Shiak, right? Nobody speaks French or English anymore. We all kind of just blend it when we're hanging out. So it's, it's kind of fun.
I thought they were all Sunnis.
No, the Shiite. Anyway, yeah, it's a bit of a Shiite hole. Anyway, so I called Pierre. I called him, and he's too big a pussy to answer the phone, but I called him right away, and I left a message. I said, Pierre, this is absolutely ridiculous. Just go apologize to Mom and buy her new lilac bushes, and tell her where you'd like them planted, and make amends, and this won't go any further. It's just, I'm sure you were just having a bad day. Let's make this go away before it escalates, because it's going to escalate, and it's not going to be painless.
Yeah, and we are, us as Mum's kids, but we're actually adults now, and we have adult money now. So,
and I'm mean, and I've got a mean. Jesus would turn the other cheek.
Pierre, I don't know if you've noticed, but
yeah,
we don't like you, and we will.
But listen, we've turned the other cheek for 40 years. I'm not doing it again. He's been a fucking asshole for 40 years, 40 straight years.
Yeah, he's
and now he's getting more unhinged. And so I left that message, and he didn't apologize. So I called the lawyer on Monday, and it's a friend of mine who's super, super aggressive. And Pierre is a relative of the ex-premier of the province. Yeah. And that makes him sound like a high up, but he's just a fucking... he's a reclusive arsehole, basically.
He's a hillbilly fuckface.
Yeah, but, whatever. It doesn't He's never had a job.
not to do name calling, but that's exactly what he is.
He's mentally, look, if we're being realistic, he's probably mentally ill, and
allegedly.
But he's abusive to my mom, so fuck him. I have less pity now. Anyway, so I called this lawyer who was a rival of the ex-premier of the province and hates that guy so much. He's like, anything I can do to hurt that family, I will put my all behind it. So he wrote this. He wrote a letter, basically just saying, look, if you ever threaten them again, they're going to get. First of all, they're going to get a restraining order against you. Secondly, our clients had offered a variance on your property to allow you to build a new building while having the farmhouse up for 1 year. That was in 2018. It's 2021. The farmhouse has to come down. And third, you could have had a normal interaction with your neighbor, and instead you had a temper tantrum. And if you ever do it again, they're going to get a restraining order, which is going to make living in your own house extremely difficult because you will not be allowed to be within 400 yards of their house. So he went to get it delivered by a process server, and the process servers are all ex-RCMP or RCMP officers in their moonlight hours, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't go to this guy's house. He's dangerous. They brought another person with them, so they wouldn't go until they could get a partner. So that was delivered yesterday at 7:30 p.m. So the lawyer wrote to me and said, the process server has delivered our notice. Your neighbor is absolutely fucking insane. He said, I've seen a lot of crazy behavior since the pandemic started, but this is beyond what I've seen. So because he hadn't heard from his process server for a bit, and I said, well, maybe he's in Pierre's garden. But my concern now, of course, is Mum is up there all alone with her little dog that's not very good at defense. That's what we got to talk about, the dog too. But I'm worried that Pierre's going to come kill her. And, so I'm looking at getting some security cameras to put up as a deterrent. But he is he's a raging asshole. He's incapable of rational thought. He's not a rational person.
Well, so the whole family has been very difficult through
they have been
entire lives.
They have been, but the old ones who were, we helped them. We helped the old people when they needed help getting up the steps, when they needed whatever. You were always there to help them, and you would never complain. They're dead, and now Pierre is off his meds and has no grounding force in his life. And is just completely bananas. He thinks he's going to claim all the property where our camp is. I know. He thinks he's going to own it. Somehow magically he's going to be able to own it. I was
what's really funny is that when that happened, I went straight to Home Alone tactics.
You were put sugar on his yard, get the ants.
Get the ants. Let's get one of those beepers, and whenever we leave, we put the beeper on, so it just beeps all day and all night. And then I was like, and also, why don't we get a strobe light and put that directly from our window to his? It's
I'm telling you, I'm kind of hoping he comes over and tries to push me, because I'm going to put that fucker's dick in the dirt. He is. I am in your just ass? Looking. No, I'm looking for an excuse to put him down. He's like a fucking rabid dog. He's got to go down. Anyway, allegedly. I'm not going to do anything. I would just call it. If he says anything, I'm just going to say, look, talk to the lawyer. You decided to have a temper tantrum. It wasn't me. I said, Pierre, I got other headaches to deal with. I don't give a shit about you. Call my lawyer if you got a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. So have we heard anything back from him yet, or?
No, just from the process server that he was bananas. He went crazy when they served him.
I mean, he is bananas, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other things? You almost hit a moose.
Oh fuck! We had oh my god! Yeah, we've had quite a time. So our camp is way out. Not the cottage, not Mom's place, but my little fishing camp is way out in the middle of nowhere. As you'll find out if you ever get here.
Whoop whoop, we'd say here.
Chrissy has hit a moose before in the past. And she and I were driving up with the dog in the car. And this fucker ran out of the woods like you can imagine it's a highway through the trees, right? There's no... but it was broad daylight. I wasn't really paying attention. Chrissy noticed it, thankfully. The thing ran out in front of my car, and I slammed on the brakes, and the dog flew out of the back seat onto the dash of the car.
You didn't have your
it was like
restrained appropriately from the sound of it.
It was like a cartoon of what happens when like cartoon characters slam on the brakes. The dog just flew like it was in the space program. Flew through the vehicle like weightlessly and slammed into the windshield.
Unlucky. Well,
we missed the moose, but it ran in front of our car for another minute, like a full 60 seconds. It ran right in front of the car.
Speaking of trauma, then, because I bet that dog would have been a bit bruised. When we bought the new TV, it was because we'd kind of moved our entire living room around. We'd put it together 10 or 12 years ago when we moved into this place, and then we haven't moved it around since. So we moved everything around, and we got rid of our piano because when we were having babies, I was like, they are going to be musical geniuses. Of course. So I got a piano, and they're not, and it was awful. Because Elijah just basically used it as the biggest coffee table of all time. No, he would just put like all of his dishes on there, wrappers, and it just turned into this dumping ground of gross. And then he would lift it up occasionally and go, see. Like it was just really annoying.
Isn't that like the perfect analogy of marriage? It's like if you have, you remember in the magazines like Maxim and Men's GQ or whatever, they used to sell like sex furniture. Like, I know if I bought a butterfly fuck swing, that it would turn into something that holds all the mail that I haven't opened yet.
I know, yes. Yeah, like it was, we put pictures on the top and we tried to make it pretty, but it was just ugly. It was useless. So we decided to move that. So Aaron and I were like, I want to do this today. Like, this is happening today. I just want to get it done. Yeah. So Aaron and I moved this piano, and let me tell you, I don't know if this is common knowledge, but pianos are fucking heavy. Yeah. And we were trying, I was lifting it. And I was like, okay, I really don't want to hurt my back. Like, that was my main priority. So I was like, straight back. And which kind of means that you kind of puff out puff out forwards a little bit. So we were doing that, and we had to move it and then bring it through a doorway. And I got myself jammed between the doorway and the corner of the piano, and it got me right in the fucking dick. Like, not the balls, the dick. And I was like, like it was like, that doesn't hurt too much. At the time it was like, man, nothing. Like, it was like, oh, my dick, like, we gotta back it up. And so we managed to get it all the way through and blah blah blah, and we moved everything around. Then that night I went and I was like, whew, I am tuckered out, it's time for a shower. And I got ready for the shower. My dick was so bruised. It looked like the eggplant emoji. Now I get it. It was fucking purple. And I went to Aaron and was like, Aaron, you are not going to believe this. Like, I had fucking no idea that this was possible.
Well, you probably broke your dick a little bit. I mean, you know how the blood works, right? You have this spongiform tissue.
There was no crack. It's not to the left or anything like that.
Oh, no, that doesn't happen until the scar like retracts.
Well, no, it was, I could see the vessel. It was superficial, but it was because I think because I was like straining as well, right? Like
you were valsalvaing, pushing more blood into your dick. And then hurt your dick.
Like, it's all resolved now, but I was just like, this is not something that is normal.
As long as you hurt it when it's flaccid, I think it usually recovers. I think it's when you
it was
really bang it up when it's turgid.
It's very rarely hard.
I'm not even sure I would know anymore. I can't see it. I can hardly feel it.
I can't see it. It's lost its feeling ages ago.
Yeah. I have like diabetic dick neuropathy. I can't see a goddamn thing. No.
But it reminded me of the time that you ate those wings. I know we've spoken about that before, and your dick blew up to a giant purple pineapple.
It was like pineapple sized, I would say. It was full blown pineapple.
And this was like, this was pre-band camp. This was...
Yeah, I was 10 years old. It was pre-puberty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was pretty traumatic.
Quite impressive. So I was like, well, I guess now both of us have a dick story. Because I remember when I was at university doing like in vet school, Aaron was staying over and I fell getting out of bed and I slammed my cock right into the corner of the dressing table that was there. No bruise then. It was just like, oh, like that was a near miss. But yeah, this is something else.
Yeah, I assume it's getting better now.
Oh, it's all completely resolved.
It's funny. There's Peyronie's disease is when the dick is hooked to the left or right when it's got a bend in it because of penile trauma.
Told me about that.
But there's a beer called Peyronie. And I thought it would be really funny if their bottle, like if the neck just kind of slewed off one side or the other. If I ran Peyronie beer, that's what I would do that for sure. I would do that.
Like for Pride Month.
Yeah, for Pride Month. I don't think it's just a gay thing. I think dicks can get a bend in them.
Well, the reason I have that association
from being overly aggressive with it
is because Brent was having an experience with a guy, and apparently what they say is, show me what you got. And this guy showed him what he had, and Brent was like, it had quite the hook. And he was like, where's the door? and the guy was like, that way. And the direction his dick was pointing.
They also call having a poop getting it ready.
Oh, no. No.
So where'd that come from?
No, I don't think they do.
I know, it's a prison thing. So I've been watching this YouTube channel, which, again, forgive me. This is probably... Well, you know what? This is not unwholesome content. It's really interesting. It's a guy named Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. That's the name of the channel. It's definitely worth watching. If you've ever been curious about anything about prison, it is... I started watching it because I thought I might murder Pierre. And you
were like, is it going to be worth it?
What's this going to be like?
Will I really
it'll be 15, 20 years. And so I followed him, and one of the guys, when there's video recommendations or it just keeps playing or whatever, another guy was like, one thing they don't tell you about when you go to prison, and you won't know unless you've been there, is when you have a poop, they call it getting it ready.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I would not, especially if they sell popcorn in prison. That would be a real disaster.
Yeah. There's a lot of... Concession is a big part of prison, like the concessions and the... Yeah. It sounds like, you know what? It sounds a lot like just my daily life.
Like band camp.
I almost got mugged today coming out of St. Joe's. A guy followed me. And because the methadone clinic was there.
Did you find wire on your door handle?
No, he was high as hell. And he followed me and he started saying, what you got? And I don't know if he was asking me for drugs. Oh, you want to see my dick? I didn't. I thought maybe he was asking me for drugs, but he was looking like he was about to take a swing at me. And then I just kind of squared up to the guy. It was broad daylight. And I said, can I help you? And I tried to say it in a way that like would emphasize that, dude, I'm like 150 pounds heavier than you. Don't fuck with me. Yeah. And he was like, oh shit, man. Like, walked off mumbling. But I don't know.
It's funny that's the vocabulary that you chose, because when the clinic that I was working at got robbed, the guy clearly didn't know that it was a 24-hour emergency center. And we heard the ding of the thing, and we looked out, and this guy, it looked like the fucking Predator, let me tell you, because he had his sweatshirt wrapped around... What's that?
Because he had dreadlocks?
Well, he had his sweatshirt wrapped around his head.
And so it looked like the... Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so the sleeves were hanging down, and I was like, whoa, that's fucking creepy. But then, what made it even creepier was that he was trying to sneak under the IR lens that beeps. So he was crawling on his toe knuckles and his hand knuckles, and he was moving kind of like out of the movie The Ring, like kind of in fast motion. Yeah. And we were like, what the fuck is going on here?
He had a bit of a creep in him.
Yeah, and the doors, like we were just opened, so the doors we didn't have locks on or anything. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go out and confront him.
This guy.
So I walked out there and I was like, can I help you? And he was like, no. And then he ran away.
He was trying to steal drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Or anything, I think, is what he was trying to steal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he was crawling on his knuckles, and they do that so they don't leave fingerprints on the floor.
Just wear gloves. Little point to any potential thieves out there. Invest in gloves, because walking around on your knuckles is idiotic.
It's not
You're already dumb enough.
You don't
need to look like an knuckles.
Ape. Well, yeah, no, he was flat. Like, it looked weird with the way that he was coming through the door.
Yeah, well, they try to get under the sensors and stuff. I've seen. We see it all the time at the hospital. We have quite a drug problem in St. John. It's sad.
I think it's probably everywhere, to be honest.
And I don't know, this day and age, we're supposed to accept guilt for everything. We are guilty of everything. We're genocidal, homicidal maniacs, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, exactly. But we're supposed to take the guilt as doctors for the drug crave, the drug addiction issue that's going on. But I have never written a prescription for narcotics for anybody.
No.
And I don't. I don't do it because of that reason.
Your patients are missing out because they're great.
I mean, I give them during procedures. But I'm like, you don't need to go home on fentanyl. Like, you don't need to go home on whatever, OxyContin. The pain's over. Take an Advil, for fuck's sake. And if somebody's suffering, that's totally different. But I don't see them at that point. They're somebody else's patient, right? I just go up and consult for the part I do. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. A lot of the people in St. John who are on drugs, I don't think they got them because they had... medical issues. That's the story that we're all supposed to buy, is that this is from the medical community. But I keep thinking, these people are 18 years old, 20 years old. They're not.
No, I would say...
They're not coming in for back surgery and then getting addicted to opioids.
No, and it's escapism when you're in that kind of situation sometimes. Like, they're just finding something to get themselves sort of, I guess... not physically, but maybe psychologically out of the situation that they're currently in, and that's like a quick fix, a quick escape. But then it snowballs into something a lot bigger.
I was talking to the guy who works at the methadone clinic, and he said what happens is they get addicted on the street, but then they'll come in and they'll go to doctors' offices one after the other, and they will create a scene and scream and